This segment is brought to you by Jigmasters. Step up your game with high-quality performance jigs, spinner baits, buzz baits, and more from jigmasters.com. And always, when in doubt, get the jig out.
Welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. This is the final cast segment with your hosts Brad Hicks and Josh Eldridge, where we cast our final opinions on all products, good and bad. Welcome to the final cast. You're listening to the final cast on the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. I'm your host, Brad.
What's up? I'm Josh.
How you doing, man? Anything new?
No, I was doing laundry. When I moved in this place, I had a washer and dryer, and it's kind of a quick, funny story. And it didn't work. And you know how your washer machine locks? Mm-hmm. And when it's in a spin cycle and it's washing clothes, well, it was locked. I couldn't put the lid all the way down. And then I broke it. I broke the plastic switch for it. And then I was really bummed out because it had a full tank of water with bleach in it. I was going to clean it out. And so I ended up finding the exact part on Amazon, putting it in. Everything is good to go. And I start it and the motor's blown on it. It doesn't spin at all.
That sucks.
So right now I've been doing laundry at the laundromat. Luckily it's literally 2 minutes right down the street.
Yeah.
But dude, it's expensive, man.
Yeah, I've been there before many times.
So I'll have to get a new washer.
That sucks. But good news is we got a cool guest on tonight, man. We got Mickey Gibbs from Boomerang Tool. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, fellas. How y'all doing?
Pretty good.
Doing good. Welcome to the show. We're happy to have you, man. Brad and I are big fans of the Boomerang Snip, so we'll talk a little bit about that. To start the episode out, would you care to introduce yourself? Let us know what you do for Boomerang and anything else you got going on in the fishing world.
Well, I'm Captain Mickey Gibbs. I'm stationed here in Florida. I do charter, take people out charter fishing for snook, redfish, and trout. I also fish all the big redfish tournaments throughout the southeast, which would be Louisiana, Georgia, Florida, up into the Carolinas and stuff like that.
You get along with our saltwater host Dustin Nichols. He chases all those fish on the kayak.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
So we might have to pass him over your name. Get you a guest on his show and talk about saltwater fishing. That'd be cool.
Absolutely, yeah. Anytime, man. Anytime.
So how long have you been with Boomerang?
So Boomerang actually started in 2010, about 2010, 2011. It was a guy out of California that started it, and he was a lawyer, and he had it for about 3 years. In 2015, I believe it was, West Coast Corporation, which I don't know if everybody's familiar with the keyback. They're, the little silver thing that the janitors had when you were in school that they had to have. That's keyback. So what it was is keyback, West Coast Corporation actually built the retractor that's inside of here. So when they decided to, sell, it was a perfect marriage for West Coast to buy them because they were already building the retractors. And I've been with them since about 2011. I started with the Boomerang company. When they were bought by West Coast, they liked me, and I came over with West Coast.
That's cool. I didn't know. I thought they were around much longer than that. I didn't realize they've only been around for 11 years.
Yeah, it's been about 11 years. Like I said, the guy was a lawyer in California that started it, and it was just two guys that were running the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And West Coast ended up purchasing them or acquiring them.
Well, these things are a really cool product. I've been using them since 2014, and I don't even remember where I first heard of them. It might have been just walking through Cabela's, and it caught my eye, and I'm like, those look like good snips.
Yeah, that's funny you say that because my first pair, I was walking through Bass Pro Shop, and there was they had them on an end cap, and there was a video playing, and it showed the guy cutting braided line, and I'm like, there's no way they can cut that.
Yeah.
So I think they were $12, $13, $14. So I says, I got to get a pair. So I grab them, I get home, and I start playing with them, and I was amazed how well they cut braid.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. That braid, it cuts up to what, 60-pound braid or something like that?
The small ones cut up to 60-pound braid.
Yeah.
We still have a salty dog that this one's a bigger one. It cuts up to 250-pound braid.
Oh, wow.
This, the big offshore guys and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, being a river guy, I throw a lot of braid to leader and stuff like that. So I'm cutting. I mean, it cuts any kind of line out there, and I don't have any issue with it at all.
Yeah, it cuts fluorocarbon, mono. It cuts it all. It really does. The only thing it don't cut is wire.
Yeah.
Try to cut wire with it, and it'll cut it, but it won't cut it for the long. I mean,
right.
And then you'll doll them up. But I got into it. I kind of did the same thing. I was kind of looking for new snips, though. I got tired of breaking fingernail clippers. So, you can get fingernail clippers to cut through braid. It's usually not too clean, but only like when you buy them and they're brand new. But it seemed to be that because I bought Boomerang snips before I even got in a kayak. I bought them when I was into wade fishing, and I would clip it on my backpack. But at first, I must have went through like 4 pairs of fingernail clippers within 1 year. It seemed to be they would just actually the whole handle system would fall apart. I don't know if it was just from like corrosion from like moisture, what it was, but I would literally break them like every month and a half to 2 months. And so I went out to buy some, and I think I had run across that somebody had said, try Boomerang snips, you'll like them. It even cuts braid. And it's nice because you can clip it on your backpack, and it's right there readily accessible. You don't have to dig around in your bag anymore. And that sort of thing. So I went and bought some, man, and I love them. And I think I still have the original pair that I bought like 5 or 6 years ago, and they still cut perfectly fine. The only thing that's wrong with them was the little Boomerang insignia, the little plastic piece came off.
Yeah. I mean, when the 2 original guys had Boomerang, and the first time they were at ICAST, so they gave a lot away. And believe it or not, to this day, even at ICAST, like 5, 6, 7 years later, people still come up and say, I still use the original pair. It's just amazing how well they hold up.
I mean, for the price point, I mean, you can't hate on the fact that, the price point by any means, because of how much life you could get out of a pair. I mean, at first I thought that I was having an issue with them locking, and I realized it was me, like not using it properly and pressing like one side versus both together. And I kept locking it on myself, and I'm like, why am I having so much trouble? I've had these things for years. And last year, every time I went to use them, I had locked them in place. And, but no, man, I attest this product is rock solid, and you can't beat it for what price point it comes at. But I did have one question.
Okay.
One of my biggest things that I was always afraid of with that was the cable or the line that's used inside the retractable mechanism. What are they using? Because I thought for sure I would have broke that by now, and I'm still shocked that it's holding up till today.
So on the snips, it's a military grade cord. That's about all I can tell you about it. I don't know exactly how it's made, but it is a military grade cord. On our bigger retractors and stuff, now these are actually Kevlar cords. But on the snips, because it's such a small cord to go in there, I don't think they can really use the Kevlar. But it is a military grade cord, and they're tested. I mean, honestly, they're tested to 1 million pulls.
So can you cut those cords with the actual Boomerang snip?
Yeah, you probably could.
I didn't know if they ever tested that.
Oh, Brad, I'm going to do that to you, man. I'm going to grab yours and just snip it and throw it back at you and be like, that's for your dumb question.
I'll hold it up like this. I'll be like, what the heck, dude? No, I just didn't know. It's just, companies like to test stuff like that, and, just to prove a point, I didn't know if they ever did it.
No, but I can promise you it will cut it. Sure.
That's funny. Going back to the original Boomerang snips, I still have mine as well, and I will say once they get dull enough to where it won't cut braid anymore, it'll still cut those other lines like it's nothing.
Right. Yeah, your fluorocarbons and your monos, yeah, it will still cut it. So you have to understand what happens. They probably don't get dull. So if you look at a snip, when they cut, it cuts like this. The only thing that would happen was that they might spread apart a little bit, and that's going to stop it from cutting. But they really don't get dull. I mean, Bass Pro Shop uses them on their line cutting machines, and you know how many reels they line a day, and they'll tell me they get 5-6 years out of a pair.
Wow.
Cutting every day. So
I'm gonna have to see if that's the case with my old ones. See if they're a little spread apart a little bit.
Might be. I mean, I'm not saying they won't get dull, but it's highly unlikely that they get dull. Most of the time what'll happen is they'll just spread apart just a touch, and that's what causes them you'll start getting that little fray when you cut.
Yeah.
So,
I'm gonna have to try that. That's interesting.
I mean, we have, people that say, "Oh, I didn't get 6 months out of it, whatever." Well, that's highly unlikely, but usually it's from them cutting something that they're not supposed to cut.
Yeah. I was about to say, like, I've nicked like eyelets on my ball head jigs and stuff on accident. So that's probably the reason why.
I mean, I'm just as guilty as anybody. Like, you know how hard I don't think y'all use Berkeley Gulp up there where you're at, but Berkeley Gulp is a bait that it's hard to get in the bag. I mean, it's just hard to get in the bag. You can barely rip it, and I'll use mine every once in a while to nip that bag just so I can open it up. And of course, it's going to get duller when you do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I even use mine for trimming jigs.
You mean the
snips? Like I'll use the snips to like trim the skirt of a jig a little bit.
Yeah.
I've done what Brad's talking about. Like I've noticed kind of the same thing, that my braid's starting to fray a little bit. It's still cutting it good. It's just frayed, but I think that's where I've been in a hurry and I've cut onto the hook, the hook eyelet on accident or something of that nature. But and if you're kind of doing it hard and you're not paying attention, it'd probably be something that over time is going to cause that to spread. But I mean, if I can get 5 or 6 years out of something that costs $12 or $13, man, I'm all in. So
completely agree.
I mean, I had spent probably $20 in one season buying fingernail clippers that I just kept destroying. So
right. And remember, it's all stainless. I mean, the blades are stainless, even the retractor inside of it is stainless. But there again, stainless is just stainless. It will still rust.
Yeah. Right.
It
just takes longer.
Yeah, but you gotta do a little maintenance on it too. I mean, I use just like a product like cleanse oil or something, and just spray them, once a week, and just kind of let them dry. And I get 2 or 3 years out of them, and I'm on the water 2 to 250 days a year, easy.
Right. Now you guys got these long nose snips and the shorter ones. What exactly are the longer ones used for?
So we made the long ones for the fly guys, for their flies and things like that. They want a little longer blade, so we made the long ones. The short one, the original BTC 203, is still probably our number one seller, but the long one is catching up quick. And I guess the reason why is that more people are seeing it, and people like me who, have gotten up in my age and I can't see as well, it's easier to see with this long blade than it is the short blade to cut you off. So that's why I use the long blade, just because I can see it easier.
Yeah.
You guys also offer like a I forget what magnifying glass on one of them. Is that for fly guys as well?
Yeah, it's for fly guys. So that's our cheater snip.
Okay.
It's fly guys. And the way it's designed is you wear it around your neck. It still has the retractor, but then you can flip. I don't know if you can flip the magnifying glass out, and you can, if you have problems seeing, you can tie or something like that. It's just a little different way to. It's a 3-time magnification. Guys who don't have their glasses on all the time, they can see to put a line through their hook or something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's cool. I've never seen those in stores, but I saw it on the website a couple of days ago. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I like that. Yeah, there's an LED on this too, right?
There is one on the 204. That's the LED.
Okay, what is that used for?
It's just a light. I mean, it's whoever wants one with a light, it's just available.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. Like, if you're up early morning or,
right,
at dusk or whatever, it's going to help you be able to see. Because, I mean, when you're starting to tie, especially if you're finesse fishing, man, that line is hard to see. So,
right. Well, we also have one called the Super Snip, which I don't know if you've seen that one. I do not have a pair here with me right now. The only difference, it's basically the long blade snip. Mm-hmm. It has a little point right here on this handle for cleaning out the paint and the jig heads.
Yeah. And
instead of it has a UV light.
That's what I was getting mixed up with.
Yeah, the UV light now, the guys are using that for the walleyes and stuff if they're fishing at night to the glow in the dark jig heads.
Oh.
They'll charge them with that so that they'll glow. And also the fly guys are using it for their fly line because there's a lot of times they'll use a UV glue based on their lines, and it just helps them heat that UV glue up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I saw these at the store a while back. I'm like, why do you need a UV light? Because, again, river guy, bass fishing, I'm not really using a UV light or anything. But so I didn't know why it was on there.
Yeah, it's just for charging the jig heads and for the UV glue on the fly guys.
It's pretty awesome seeing all the different variations you guys have off of that design now. I had no idea there was so many different variations at this point. I mean, the only one that I think I've ever seen besides the original ones might have been the longer bladed ones. And even those are a little bit rare to find in the stores. It always seems to be the original style. So, but that's pretty cool, man. It's cool to see the ingenuity you guys have at the company to kind of keep evolving the product, I mean, as successful as the original one is, you guys didn't stop there and you're like, how can we keep improving and, reach further into the fishing market and, try to satisfy different anglers' needs. It's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah. We're trying to hit all anglers, not just the, the saltwater guys or just the fly guys. We're trying to cover the whole broad spectrum of the anglers. That's why we came out with the big salty dog. That's for the offshore guys and stuff. So.
Yeah, and I think you hit it right there. Just a product for every angler out there. Just to tie this back into kayak fishing, this snip is perfect. I wear mine on my PFD, just right here on my chest. And for anybody that uses the NRS Chinook, there's a little strap that's used for holding your line while you're tying, or holding your rod while you're tying on a lure. I put my boomerang snips right there, and whenever I need it, it's just boom, boom. That's it.
Yep.
Easy as that.
They're very convenient, and if you drop them, they don't go in the water and get lost.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do these things float at all?
No,
okay.
They don't.
Yeah, I never thought about that until.
But that was our slogan: never lose your tool again.
Right. I mean,
and if you drop it, it always comes back to you. And that's where the boomerang came up. Is you throw a boomerang, it comes back to you. Well, if you drop this thing, it comes back to you, and that's why it's called boomerang.
Gotcha. Makes sense now. I didn't. This product right here, like I know a lot of other retractables that they have a lot of pressure. I'm trying to think what I'm trying to say. It has a lot of force coming back to you. The retractable part has a lot of force coming back to you to where it slaps. Boomerang tool does not do that.
No, not the snips. Now we do have like I said on some of the other retractors we have like a XD that has 14 ounces of pullback. That's quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's for the guys that hunt that want to carry their range finders and stuff,
mm-hmm.
so that it won't pull it back like snap it back, but we pull it back.
But it's compensating for the weight of the tool, basically.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I've used other retractables before, and I've had it sling back and hit me in the hand, and it hurts.
Right. Yeah.
I wish I could see one just smack you in the chin or something, dude. Like,
it's usually the hand because I have it right there, and I accidentally undo the clip or something stupid.
Something else that I don't know if y'all have seen it is our Pro pliers. So the retractor's in the case.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Instead of having that, that curly Q thing that hangs all over and gets on everything, the retractor's right there in the case. So and that's a Kevlar cord. So it just pulls back. And they sell actually the plier and the case, and they also sell just the case, which will fit any 7.5-inch plier.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull these up on the page here.
With those pliers, are you wearing that holster for them? Are you wearing that on you physically, or is it somewhere you would mount on your boat, or what?
No, you wear it on you. So it has a actual belt clip that'll clip, or it actually has the belt loop, so you can put it through the belt itself.
That's
I
cool.
use the belt loop. I don't like the clip. I mean, the clip works, but I rather have the belt loops, so I know it's not going anywhere when I bend over or something like that.
Brad, that would be really cool. You could slide that, like on Jackson, it has kind of a flap on the bottom of the seat. You could clip that, slide it right on the edge of that material on the seat. It would sit there right there between your legs, or wherever you'd want to put it.
Yeah, and going back to that, I've had problems with I'm not going to say the brand, but I have some pliers that are made like that with coils and stuff, and just being in a kayak with tethers, we've talked about it before, me and Josh. Too many tethers is a bad thing in a kayak, especially if you do flip. So something like that's on you, not attached to the kayak, that makes it a lot more safe than some other products out there.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I like it because that curly Q thing that's on most brands of pliers, when you walk by, like in my boat, when you walk by your rods that are, in a rocket launcher, the first thing that curly Q thing wants to do is get in all the fishing line and start getting it all tied up, whereas it's always out of the way.
I've been there before. It's not fun. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know you guys had those.
Yeah, we have a lot of SKUs. I mean, people need to just go on the website, boomerang.com, or even keyback.com, and you can get the Boomerang tools through there. We were T-Rain, Boomerang T-Rain, but we pretty much rebranded everything from T-Rain to Boomerang. So everything, not everything, but most everything is rebranded to Boomerang, not T-Rain.
Well, T-Rain partnered up with Yak Attack to make that thing, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But that retractable system, mounting system.
Yep.
Yeah, because I forget, Yak Attack made it to where you could put it in a gear track or something like that, right? Something like that. Yeah, that was a cool. That was a cool product. I saw that and thought it was pretty sweet that you could just hook whatever you wanted to on a gear track.
So I did notice, though, you guys too, you have branded, actually. There's only one company I've noticed. I wanted to know if you guys have done this with anybody else, but I think I saw that Hobie had those snips, and they had, instead of having the Boomerang insignia, it looked like it had the Hobie one. Are you familiar with that?
Sure. So we'll brand with anybody. We will. You have to just, so if you're a tackle store or something like that, you have to order 144 of them, and we will put your logo on it.
Yeah.
We don't charge anything else to do that, which just 144 pieces is what you have to buy. And it doesn't have to be all the same product either.
Okay. Where do you put the logo at? I've never seen that.
The Hobie one's right where the Boomerang is.
Yeah, right where this little, they call it a cap.
Oh.
Right where the button cap is. They just make one with their logo on it. We've done it with you're probably not familiar with them. Fish bites.
Mm-mm.
Fish bites is it's a big saltwater, almost like a gulp, smelly shrimp down here, and
Okay.
we've partnered with them, and they do a lot of snips with the fish bites on them.
I need a paddle in Finland. That'd be cool.
You just got to order 144 of them, dude.
Hey, listeners, if you guys want one, comment on our post. We'll gauge interest. If it happens, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, make it happen.
But yeah, because a buddy of mine, him and I had lost my original ones that I thought I did, and I ended up finding them packed somewhere like at the bottom of a box. And I had bought another one and then thought I lost that one. And he had 2 Hobie ones. And that's where I was like, oh man, I didn't know that you could buy a Boomerang and have, another brand on those. And I figured he had gotten them from Strictly Sale Brad, which is our local Hobie dealer. And so I'm sure that, either Hobie bought them and then supplied them out, or if Strictly Sale bought them, I'm pretty sure it was probably Hobie, but
Yeah,
that's pretty cool, man. It's cool that you guys give that opportunity to other companies to, represent such a quality product and then, be able to put their brand on it. It's pretty cool because a lot of companies may not be willing to necessarily do that, and, but man, I'll tell you what, those snips, they outshine a lot of products that are out there when it comes to line cutting, and it's been it was probably my favorite accessory for quite some time, just in fishing in general. I was like completely astonished about how long those things last and what that price point was.
yeah, I agree, man.
But let's go ahead, Brad.
Let's move to the Pro Grip, unless you had something else to add.
No, so the Pro Grip, this was made for the kayak guys. So what it is, so this is actually for the paddle, and it's like it's like a handcuff. It just locks in around any paddle. You can unlock it, lock it. It's on a tether, and the tether actually locks out, so it doesn't pull all the time, and then it's just a little snap and it'll come back in, and it's 48 inches long, and this is Kevlar.
Okay.
And you just give it a little pull, it comes back in. Comes with the carabiner, so you can hook it to stuff. You can hook it to your life jacket or whatever you want to.
Now, this picture that I have pulled up on the screen right here, it's showing that it's attached to the kayak. How does that work?
So I'm not sure how they attached it to that kayak. I mean, I'm not sure how they attached it to the kayak.
Okay. I'm sure there's plenty of other ways to figure it out for sure.
It may not even be attached though, Brad. It just might be pulled out in front of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It does lock. I mean, it'll lock at increments like that, and you can see that there's no pull, and then just a little pull, and it'll pull back in.
And I mean, for being 48 inches long, I mean, it's 4 feet long. That's quite a bit of cordage. So, you can, I mean, I'm sure you could figure out a way though to attach it if you wanted to, Brad,
Yeah. And again, going back to other tethers for paddles, they're using those coil tethers and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's often what I see.
Which also can be a pain.
Yeah,
getting tangled in line and stuff like we mentioned earlier.
I would hate to flip a kayak over and have all that stuff stringing around me.
I mean, it's one thing to have like maybe 1 or 2 things, but having a paddle on one of those, because I had one for quite some time and it didn't ever really get in my way. But like Brad mentioned, just the kind of danger factor of it, too much cordage isn't a good thing. If you could get away with, kind of limiting, especially stuff that's on the longer side, when you hit that 2 to 4 foot mark on, something simple like a coiled tether system, it can be a little bit dangerous, really. You don't want to get that stuff, tangled around you or whatever. And then say the paddle gets stuck in something, and then before you know it, your ankles, tangled around it. But I mean, and for anybody's ever wondering, it's always safe, you guys, to carry a good knife on you. There's all kinds of different brands out there. The best kind of thing is to look for like that diving style knife that doesn't have a sharp point on it, but is rated to cut cordage, fairly quickly. I mean, I think I have one that's got like sort of a serrated edge to be able to cut through that stuff. So if you are carrying any kind of tethering systems on, whether it's your catch board or your paddle or whatever, always try to remember to carry a knife to get you out of those situations.
Yeah, I need to start doing that. I don't have a knife, but especially having an NRS Chinook life vest that has a spot for it. I mean, you might as well throw one on there.
Yeah.
Because you never know when you're going to need
going into, since we're talking about kayak, saying that product, did you guys see kind of a boom in the kayak industry with your sales as the kayak stuff started to grow? Because I would point the big growth for kayak fishing, what do you would say, Brad, like 2014?
Yeah.
Kind of where it really started to take off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we've had a big boom back then. I mean, I can't recall, but I know a lot of the kayak guys have definitely started using this product. I think it's mandatory that y'all carry a sound device too, right? Now, like a whistle or something like that.
Yep. Yeah. On most safety checks that say, if you, like, we live in Ohio, so Ohio Department Natural Resources, if ODNR comes around, they'll do a safety check. You're not going to get probably fined for it, but they're going to be like, hey, you really need to carry one, they
won't let you on the water.
I mean, I've seen where guys don't have them and they still did. So
really? Well, the reason why I said that is we have a Fox 40 whistle that's on a retractor.
Nice.
That's kayak guys that went to. I think even paddle boarders actually have to have a noise making device now. And so it definitely was a good product for the kayak guys, that Fox 40 whistle.
Yeah.
It worked very well for them.
I don't see that here on the website.
Yeah, we might have discontinued that. I'm not 100% sure. I know we were still carrying it, but we might have discontinued it.
Okay.
But you could take I guess you could take any of our Boomerang. This is a T-Rain, but because we had, like, this is a small, and put a whistle on it and tether it to you.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's just a way of tethering it to you. So.
Gotcha. So, how has COVID affected you guys business-wise this past year?
For the fishing side, it's been pretty good. I don't know what happened, up there where we are, but down here, when COVID first took off, and March and April were, very dismal. I mean, I was like, oh no, is this ever going to end? But then about May, things just started to go crazy because people couldn't do anything but go on a boat.
Right.
None of our boat ramps closed down. So people were going on their boats every week, and I think boat sales were through the roof. So a lot of tackle stores were out of product because they just couldn't get product, for one thing, but they also sold out of product.
Yeah.
So, it was actually, I mean, we did pretty decent through the COVID.
That's good.
The outdoor side, the Boomerang side.
Yeah, everybody we've talked to, it seems like their business was just booming the whole year, it's awesome. It just shows that everybody was tired of sitting in the house and they wanted to get out and do outdoor activities, which is pretty cool. Right,
100%. I mean, it definitely took off. I mean, some of our guys that I talk to down here that are I'm trying to think of what I would call them. I can't think of it right now. They had record years as far as sales, as far as fishing.
Yeah, me and Josh were affiliated with a paddle shop up here, man, and they had record sales this year, and kayaks like all across the country were flying off the shelves, hard to find. Right. It's been crazy.
Yep.
Well, we got the Pro Case. You guys just released this, and I saw this posted on your Instagram. Talk about this a little bit.
So they just released the Pro Case phone case, and what it basically is it's a case that you can slide your phone into. You just unzip it, slide your phone into it, and You can now use your phone too. You can talk on your phone. You can take pictures. You can do, either front or back pictures. And it's on a tether too. It locks right there, and then you just slide it down, and it pulls out. And there again, that's another 48-inch Kevlar tether.
Did you say that was completely waterproof?
It's not waterproof. No.
Okay.
It's not waterproof. But it is, if you drop it, it's not going to go in the water. That's one of the good things, but it's not waterproof.
Right. I gotcha. That's a cool product. Yeah, you guys just released this like 2 weeks ago, I think, right?
Yep. It was about 2 weeks ago we released it.
Pretty cool. It fits most any smartphones.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah, I don't see any. I'm trying to like pick out some stuff that kind of relates to kayak guys, because our focus is on kayak fishing. So
yeah, your biggest product is, like I said, going to be the snips, the paddle tether, the pro grip.
That phone case for sure. I mean, that's how we do our tournaments. So
yeah.
True.
Y'all do photo tournaments, right?
Yep.
We do catch, photo, release, and it's all uploaded. You upload your picture, release the fish right then and there, and you place in for like your submission, what your length is, and that sort of thing. So it's definitely there's all kinds of different tether systems. Yours is the first one I've seen that's an actual case that's attached to the tether system.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones are usually either like a card system that you would snap into your existing case,
Mm-hmm.
with a little bit of cordage, maybe with like a ring on the end of it that gets attached to like a carabiner, and then your typical like lanyard style coil tether system. A lot of guys in the kayak industry store their phone within their life jacket. I know I do.
Yep.
I don't like to have my phone out on the deck of the boat because I'm too messy. I get in and out of my kayak a lot, especially on the river. So everything gets dirty and muddy and sandy. So I don't like having my phone free floating around. So mine slides in, but there's another one. It's like a rubber piece that kind of it extends out and kind of goes around the corners of your phone,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good one. I like that one. I prefer that one because I have a life-proof case on my phone, so it's waterproof. But the problem is sometimes when I slide it in and out, it's really easy to knock the corner off of one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have to give that new phone holder, you guys, give it a shot and see. The only thing I would worry about a little bit is just the clarity of the picture through the plastic of the case.
Yeah, they're pretty clear. I mean, and most phones nowadays, they're waterproof without a case. I mean,
right.
That, actually this past weekend, I fished a tournament in Jacksonville, it was a Go Live tournament, Facebook Live tournament, which you hook a fish, you had a marshal on the boat that filmed you from the time you hooked the fish till the time you got it in, then you waited, and then you released it. Well, being cold, I mean, our cold probably isn't your cold. I mean, it was 45 degrees. It was rainy. It was windy. So I was freezing.
Yeah.
It was nice to have the case because I didn't have to worry about dropping the phone. I mean, my hands aren't very well in that cold weather. And it was like, I just felt like if I didn't have the case, I would be dropping the phone right in the water.
Yeah.
So
Right.
The case made it nice.
And going back to the clarity on the case thing, the only time I could ever see that being an issue is if it's like raining and it gets humid or something, fogs it up. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that would work pretty much most of the time. The only time I would see an issue is, like you said, in a rainy situation. And it's not like the case's fault necessarily. It's just your weather conditions, that sort of thing, or like a weird sun glare. Because how even with a phone that's not even in a case, that's one thing that we have to battle is snapping a picture that doesn't have a lot of glare. Because when we do catch, photo, release, you have an identifier that's specific to your tournament, and that's usually in plastic also. So like going through the plastic and then trying to shoot something that's in plastic too would kind of be like a little weird, because it's just when you snap a standard photo with a case, you'd be shocked of how crazy that glare can get, and trying to fight that and sitting there taking. I mean, we'll take. So some guys that got the art form down, sometimes you see it taking 10 pictures of that same fish, trying to get a good shot to be able to submit it without any issues. But I'm definitely going to give it a shot, because I like the fact that it's in that case and it's not something that the phone can easily come out of. So,
well, I tell you one thing that you bring up a point. So when it's raining, no matter what, when you try to use a smartphone in the rain, you can't hit the buttons to make it work.
Right. Yeah. Oh, don't get me started.
being in the case, you can, because it's not the phone. The case is actually touching the button, not your finger. So the phone don't get wet. So it actually works much better being inside the case to make the phone work.
It's a good point.
Yeah, because then you don't have that your wet finger contact against the phone. Because Brad was with me when I tried to snap a picture of a huge smallmouth, and I must have snapped what I thought was like 6 or 7 pictures and released it and went back to look at my phone, and not one of them went through because my fingers were wet. And that wasn't even rain. It wasn't even raining that day. It was because I pulled the fish out of water, got my phone out, was like snap, 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 and look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, not one of those pictures took, dude. There was only one picture in existence, and it was one that Brad took.
Yeah, that was a good picture though, man. You got to admit.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. I was going to say something and then I completely forgot, so it's all good. But I will say this. Out of all the products that Boomerang has to offer, what is your favorite one?
Well, I mean, for me, it's the snip. I mean, let's face it. When you're rigging lines as much as I rig lines, to make that snip the cut, and like I said, my favorite is still the long blade. It's just because it's easier for me to see. But I mean, when you're rigging, on a charter, I have 4 people that I usually take 4 people on the boat. Well, they're always breaking off, or you're always retying, stuff like that. It makes it so much easier to have the snips, even in tournaments. I mean, we're fishing around a lot of oyster beds, so your leader gets nicked. So, you bring it in and you just snip, retie, and it's there. It makes it so much quicker. I mean, a lot of people say, well, they don't help you catch fish. Well, they kind of do, because you can tie so much quicker with a pair of snips than trying to get your pliers out. And the other thing I find is that with pliers usually cut like this. They mash, just like your fingernail clippers.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And if you've ever seen the problem when you cut with a pair of pliers, is that your leader has always got that little flatten out thing, and then you go to try to put it through a jig head and it won't fit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but the braid, the snips, they cut it so clean that there's no fanning of the leader. Right, so it just goes through. So it makes it quicker and easier. And it does, I mean, it don't help you catch fish, but it helps you make more casts, in my opinion.
Exactly. Which makes you catch more fish.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, that's what especially, I mean, when you're in a tournament, it's all about how many casts you can make, how much time you keep your lure in the water. And you're sitting there trying to use a pair of fingernail clippers, and, unless you found like the perfect ones, but, over time, in my opinion, you snip enough and braid or fluoro, and especially when you start getting up in the higher pound test range, man, those things dull out. I mean, I've seen, like, after a season, you can look at a pair of fingernail clippers and you can see the indentations, all the way across that blade. So,
yeah.
Yep. And like you said, those things are that blade is pressing against another blade. The snips are sliding past each other. So,
right. They're making a very clean cut. I mean, it's a very clean cut.
Yeah, that's definitely that's a good point. I never really thought about it. Mashing versus slicing.
But yeah, that's probably that's probably because I've used it the longest. I'd probably say that's my favorite. The next favorite thing, I really love the Pro case for the pliers.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that was cool. I want to check those out.
I just really love that. I actually put my snips just like that. I got them I put a little hole in my case so the snips are right there. So when I'm wearing it, the snips are right there. The pliers are right there. That's the way I do mine. But
I know what I'm buying next. I'm buying it. I'm buying an exact setup, man. I can't like just having it. I can slide it right there in the seat, and it could just be right there between my legs. Boom, there it is. Because I'm tired of. I don't like carrying pliers on my vest. It's too bulky. It's too heavy. So I stopped doing that, and so now they kind of floats around the kayak, whether it's in the bottom of the kayak or in my, in my crate or whatever. And every time I need a pair, I end up like having to dig for it, and I lose them all the time. I drop them in the water all the time. I mean, I've probably lost at least 10 pairs in the past like 3 years. So that's why I keep buying super cheap ones.
We have guys that actually zip tie this to seats.
Yeah.
So
that's a good idea.
Just zip tie it, we also, like some of the guys down here with T-tops on their boats, they'll take and put like 4 pair of snips around the T-tops. So no matter where they're at, they just reach up there and grab it, snip, and let it go, and it goes back up. So they always got a pair somewhere around them.
Heck yeah. Yeah, you can never have too many of them. That's for sure.
That's for sure.
Well, cool. I mean, we hit everything here. Josh, you got anything else to add?
Oh, man, I appreciate you coming on the episode, man. Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I just appreciate you guys having us and promoting our product a little bit, and thank you all very much.
Yep. Do you want to throw any shout-outs out there, or where people can follow you and your guide service or anything?
You can follow me at madredcharters.com. That's here in Florida, so madredcharters.com. And Captain Mickey on Facebook. Captain Mickey Gibbs on Facebook.
And Boomerang Tool Company on Facebook and Boomerang Tool on Instagram too. If anybody wants to give them a follow.
Yep.
So please do.
Again, thanks for coming on the show. It was fun talking to you about the boomerang snips.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, Brad, Josh. I appreciate it a lot.
Yep. Not a problem, man. We look forward to talking to you in the future, hopefully. If you guys come out with any products and, you want to jump on and promote them a little bit, reach out to me and Brad. We'd be more than happy to have you back.
Absolutely. I got your emails. I'll be giving y'all a shout, man.
Cool.
Sweet.
All right.
Josh.
So
close it out, man.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to me and Brad. And a big shout out to Boomerang for joining us this week. And if you guys have any questions, concerns, or any ideas for upcoming episodes, feel free to hit up me or Brad or Paddle and Fin. Thanks, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode on Paddle and Fin. Don't forget to go check out our website at paddle_and_fin.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at Paddle and Fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest on a future episode, feel free to email us at paddle_and_fin@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Paddle and Fin on Facebook and Instagram. Shout out to our show supporters, Angler. The Angler button and app just makes for a better time on the water and creates a virtual logbook for every fishing outing out on the water. Shout out to Rocktown Adventures, located in Northern Illinois, for all your kayaking, camping, and hiking needs. Shout out to Jig Masters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com